Alright, so as you see, we just look up the word confused, and boy, did that say a lot. Alright, so the word confused means with mixing or with mixture. Alright, so now we're going to go to the book of Jeremiah, the 12th chapter and the 9th verse, and read that. Now this scripture also is twofold, just like the previous scripture we read. So now read that, brother.
Jeremiah chapter 12 verse 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
Right, so the Lord said, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. Now the first fold of that means that Israel is mixed among these nations. Get Hosea 8 and 8. Israel is mixed among these nations, so they're like a speckled bird was something that was like shunned. You know, like if you had sheep, you had to maybe get an all-white sheep or something that was pure to sacrifice to the Lord. He didn't want something that was lame, you know, or something that was impure. You know, if you had something that was pure white or pure brown or pure black, that was more of a pedigree of value, right, because it was a pedigree. But then if you had something that was speckled, that had different blemishes or colors on it, you know, then you really didn't want that. You know, you wanted something that had just a basic coat. That's why when Jacob, which was tending the sheep and the cattle of Laban, when he was tending that, the agreement was, look, anything that's ring streaked or that has blemishes or that's, you know, that has diverse colors on it, for lack of better words, that you can take that and then the rest of it give it to me. You know why? Because being speckled back then, it was shunned, it was pushed to the side. So right now Israel is among these nations that way. Those nations, they shun you, and when you come around them, they make you feel that. You know, they'll puff themselves up like they're better than you. And I've witnessed that because I've been around these heathens, you know, East Indians and all that, and they'll walk around you like they're better than you. Yep, you know, and in your mind say, this motherfucker think he better than me, man. I'll fuck you. But you know, then you know you gotta catch yourself.
You try to hold it back.
Cause you ready to fuck their ass up because they walk around like that.
Then you gotta remind them of their fucking heathenistic ways.
Yeah,
man. Especially a fucking damn cool East Indian.
Yep.
They got some nerve, man.
That's right.
Motherfuckers pray to rats.
Yep. They fucking worship cows. But now, on the flip side of that, you have these East Indians out there that think they're East Indians, but they're really Jakes. Yeah. And I know a couple of them that are straight up Jakes. They look like East Indians, but their whole spirit and mannerism is totally different. They don't act like those heathens. Now on the flip side of that, read that again.
Right. It says Jeremiah 12 and 9. Yep. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
Now on the flip side of that, the other dual meaning of that is when it says that my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird, means that you have Israelites out there that are different colors. Alright? You have a variety. They're not all going to look the same. Because the Most High is a power of variety, man. The Most High is not a power that everybody... Because if that was the case, everybody would have looked exactly the same way. Everybody would have walked, they would have had the same walk, they would have had the same height, the same humor, you know. The women would have looked exactly the same, the men would have looked exactly the same. The Most High is about variety in His people.
Right, and you know how, see, man, you motherfuckers try to limit the power of the Most High, man.
That's what you do.
You know? And that's why the Most High always puts a stumbling block and confounds you dumbass niggas, man.
Yep.
You try to dishonor him and limit his power. First of all, the Most High, you know how boring that would be if everybody just looked the same, man?
That's right.
Everybody was walking around here looking like fucking Shaft.
Yep.
Same height, same same laugh, same voice.
And you know what?
Why do you think one of the main reasons why brothers and men deal with other women?
That's right.
They like different.
They like variety.
A variety, man.
And so we have the spirit of the Most High.
Right. So the Most High can't have a variety.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
the Most High gave us different characteristics, different emotions.
Yeah.
But the Most High just got to be stiff. He just got to be one way. Come on, man.
The Most High got the most flavor of all ever.
He's the ultimate Jake.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. If you will.
Because the Most High, we all come out of the waters of Judah.
The waters of Judah, baby.
And we know that Jacob had Judah. So how could it be if all of us that come out of Judah, if Judah came out of the loins of Jacob? Because the Most High and Yahushua and all the angels up there, all Judah.
Yeah, that's right.
So go ahead, brother.
Huh. You want Hosea still?
No. Yeah, Hosea 8 and 8.
Hosea chapter 8, verse 8. It says, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure.
Right, that's why those nations shun you. So now, read that again, Jeremiah 12 and 9.
Come. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
Yep.
The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble, all the beasts of the field come to devour.
So now let's take a look at this word in the blue letter Bible, the word speckled. And let's see what that says. You know, and it's going to say it all. We'll be right back.
Boom.
All right, so this is the word for speckled in the book of Jeremiah 12 and 9.
Right. Tazabawai.
Tazabawai. Go ahead.
Right. It says colored, variegated, speckled.
Colored. Now, variegated, when you look up the word variegated, it means a variety of colors. So colored, variegated, speckled. So when you read that scripture in Jeremiah 12 and 9, the second part of it means colored, variegated, speckled. Why? Because the Most High's heritage is of different colors. It's a variety.
Variety, that's right.
You know,
that's
it's
right.
not just one particular clone that the whole nation is going to look like. All right? So now let's go back to the scriptures. All right, so now that we went on the blue letter Bible and we looked up the word speckled in the book of Jeremiah 13, I'm sorry,
12 and 9.
Jeremiah 12 and 9, and you saw that the word speckled means colored, it means variegated, which the word variegated means a variety of different colors. Now we're going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, the 11th chapter and the 2nd verse, because this is what the Most High said through the mouth of this prophet, Sirach. Read that.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 verse 2.
This is in the Apocrypha.
It says, commend not a man for his beauty.
Right, commend not a man for his beauty, God.
Neither abhor a man for his outward appearance.
Neither abhor a man for his outward appearance. Because you have men out there that might look like the other nations, but they're Israelites. So don't abhor them for their outward appearance. You know, just like on another fold of that, you have men out there that may be bums. You know, you can't look down on them because they might be angels.
Yep.
You know, so on the same token, you have men out there that look like the other nations, but they're really Israelites. So you can't, just because of, like that old saying said, you can't judge a book by its cover. Why? Because you don't know what that brother's like. That's what the scriptures say. Try the spirit, whether they be of the Most High or not. So you gotta probe that brother, see what he's all about. Yep. If you see what Elder Tahar does, you know, and Elder Gabar and Elder Rakan brothers, when somebody comes up that looks like another nation, you know, automatically, you know, being that we in this society, you know, we automatically, you're a heathen. But you probe them and you go into them, and eventually you find out that some of them are Israelites. Yep. All right, so now go from there to 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter and the 7th verse. You know, because the Most High don't look at things after the outward appearance. The Most High looks upon the heart. That's what the scriptures say, that our spirit beareth witness that we are the children of the Most High. Why? By the things that we do. That's why Jake is always so drawn to the Most High. They're always drawn to Yahushai. Why? Because of the spirit that's in us. Go ahead.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 7. Do you look on things after the outward appearance? Right.
So Paul is asking the question, do you look on things after the outward appearance? A lot of you out there do. A lot of you camps out there, you do that. You know, you look at a guy just because you look like a white dude or Hamite, you know, or East Indian, you automatically dismiss him. You know, without probing and going into the guy to find out if the guy is really an Israelite or if he's really a heathen. You know, now you could tell, like a heathen come up, you could tell straight up that he's a heathen. But sometimes you have, you know, Jakes out there that come up looking like those nations, but they're really Israelites. Okay? Read that again.
Right. It says, do you look on the things after the outward appearance?
Right.
If any man trust to himself that he is Yahushai's, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Yahushai's, even so are we Yahushai.
Right. So you can't judge a brother after the outward appearance. Now go from there to Revelation 7:9.
Right, right, 9. And that's and another thing too, because like they were giving Paul a hard time
Right.
You know, judging him by his outward appearance and everything.
That's right.
Which he was a heavy-ass, deep brother in the spirit. He was a man of the Lord.
And he didn't look the part. But the spirit that the Lord gave him was a great spirit. But he didn't look the part.
That's right.
You know, that's why even when he brought certain Israelites into the temple, they say he was bringing heathens in there because they didn't look the part.
That's right.
But they were still Israelites. So go ahead, brother. Revelation 7 and 9.
Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues.
So now somebody will look at that and without understanding, and they'll say automatically that that's talking about the heathens. That's talking about Israelites that were scattered among these nations. Because you mean to tell me that the Most High said that Israel is going to be as the sands of the sea, right?
Right.
But only 144,000 of them is going to be delivered. That's it. And then what about the rest of Israel?
Yeah.
So that great multitude of different nations and tongues and kindreds and all that, those are Israelites that were scattered among the nations that the Lord gathered by what? By His word.
Yeah.
Now the angel is going to ask John a question. He's going to ask him who these people are. And let's find out what John's response was to that. Go ahead, brother.
Right, cut. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
That's right.
And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth up upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped the Most High, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom, and thanksgiving and honor, and power and might be unto our power forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes?
So he was asking him a question. Who, these people that you see here arrayed in white robes, who are they? Let's see what John said.
And whence came they?
And where did they come from? Go ahead.
And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest.
You know. So in other words, he gave the safe answer. Sir, thou knowest, right? Because he couldn't identify them. Because if they look like straight up Israel, he said, well, these are Israelites.
Yeah, it's Judites.
These are Judites, Benjamites, Levites, Ephraimites.
Simeonite, yeah.
Why did he give him that answer? Because he didn't know, and he didn't want to give the wrong answer, so he gave him the safe answer. So read that again.
Right. It says, And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest.
Right, because prior to that, up above that, it said that there was a great multitude from all nations and kindreds and tongues and peoples. So these were Israelites that came from among these nations that looked like those nations. Go ahead.
And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation.
Right, these are they that came out of great tribulation. Why? Because the curses is what? The curses fall upon Israel. So no matter where Israel is at, they're going to go through whatever curses the scriptures say. Those curses are going to follow you no matter where you go. And that is going to be a sign upon you to know that you're an Israelite. So no matter what man says, the Most High said that those curses were going to follow you wherever you went. And that's why wherever Israelites are at, even among those nations, you have people that look down on certain people, even though they look like them. Why? Because a lot of those people are Israelites. And they're suffering the curses that were written in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, for not following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You got something, brother?
No.
Is there more? To the 14th verse? You had something? 14. Yeah, bring it out, brother.
Okay, this is Acts 13 and 41, since you brothers brought up Paul.
Go ahead, brother.
It says...
we read that, but now bring it out. That's a spirit. That's a spirit.
The Elder Hayathan came in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. It says...
it shows that it's a spirit, too.
That's right.
It says, Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish, for I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe.
Go ahead, brother.
Though a man declare it unto you.
Because you're not going to believe it, though a man declared unto you. Now, if we were to say, all right, you see this dark skin, this chocolate dark skinned brother over here with the woolly hair, this brother's an Israelite. You're going to be like, of course, sure. Sure.
Ton.
You know? But then if we said to you, you see this brother over here that looks like an Edomite? He got the straight hair, he got blonde.